You know what? I love my job. I just realized making this episode that I have two great bicycles in the studio. I was happy to train for a whole winter on the Cannondale Super 6 Evo High Modulus. On the left side, the bike I've made 700 kilometers on, which is the Roadie CW3000s. And today I'm gonna compare for you the Aero specific and climbing lightweight bike. Here is Danny, hi. We are not comparing just the models, not the Super 6 to Xeon, but just the types of the bike. So, lightweight climbing bike, the aerodynamic bike. Before we go into the details, I'm going to show you those in a second. Just an overall thought. You have to buy the bike which has the most appealing look to you, not to your friend, not to your girlfriend even, not to me, but to you. You have to choose the bike you're gonna love, you're gonna look at, you're gonna take hundreds of pictures with on the tarmac, by the tree, by your house, in the garage, just anywhere. That's what makes us cyclists, that's what makes us passionate riders. So as you can see, Aerobike will look completely different comparing to the climbing bike. As you can see, the climbing bike has super classic design, very clean, very thin tubes, everything is very straight, and those Italian cyclists gonna love it, or most of them at least. This one, huge tubes, some crazy shaping. It looks like very speed oriented, because it really is. So that's something you're gonna focus on. I do like the look of both bikes, and now we can go to some details, and I'm gonna share with you what are cons and pros of having any of these, just in my opinion. So dear friends, we've got here an Aerobike. As you can see, huge tubes, flattened tubes, which make the bike more aerodynamic, but also they make this frame set, first off, a bit heavier, and second off, less comfy. So these are the things you have to know about when you purchase an Aerobike. Now, heavier, the weight doesn't matter so much for me, I'm always telling that, but the aerodynamic specific frame set would be just around 300 grams heavier than the lightweight climbing bike. So if you compare even just within the Roadie brand, the Aero and the racing model, you're gonna see some around 300 grams difference. Of course, it depends on the high modulus, non-high modulus, but if you compare, for example, the highest level or just the mid-level, 300 grams usually would be the penalty of the weight. Now, this one will also be less comfy because it's not as compliant. It will be stiff if you like the stiffness of the bike, and it feels like your power goes to the rear wheel, but it's not gonna be as comfy as the lightweight climbing bike. So these are the two things I would consider as just first off when even thinking about the Aerobike. And now some features. And this is the lightweight climbing racing bike. As you can see, once more, very classic design, very straight and simple lines. But this frame is packed with different features. None of each of these tubes have the same shape. These are just flattened for your comfort. These have different shapes for the lateral stiffness, torsional stiffness, also for the aerodynamic. This one is also aerodynamic specified a little bit, but on this frame you're gonna save around 300 grams and you're gonna be more comfy. Why is it so? Let me tell you. The most important thing that we can call the suspension on the road bike is the seat post, and you would not expect the Aero specific seat post, the flattened one, the large one, to flex to the back. So it's not something you would expect from the Aero bike, and this is the component of the road bike that will give you, in my opinion, the most comfort from the frame set. That's the seat post. So on the Aero bike, not really a comfy one. Now we can see the difference. This seat post, the standard one, the classic one, but very thin. This one is even 25.4 millimeter. of the diameter, this thing flexes to the rear. You're gonna find different systems on different bikes that will make our seat post flex more, thus giving you more compliance, more comfort. But once you sit on this bike and then on the Aerobike, the first thing you're gonna feel is the seat post. Super stiff on the Aero and very comfy on many lightweight climbing bike. Now let's just look at this rear triangle. How cool is that? We are looking at the bike from the non-drive side so that we can see more of the frame here. This small rear triangle, so the seat stays don't go all the way up to the connection with the top tube, but just here lower. So less drag, very little space between the seat tube and the wheel, which looks so cool and adds some aerodynamics. But we would not expect these stays to flex really. These are huge, these are large, and these are not really comfort optimized. So do not expect this bike to be really comfy on the rough roads, especially if we compare it to the one on the lightweight bike. Now, can you see these stays? This is a huge difference. Very, very thin one. Canada call it thin light technology, but the other thing is also these are flattened just in the middle of it, of the chain stays, so that they will really flex on some rough roads. This is not a suspension. It will be just, I would say, vibration damping. That's how it's called actually, the safe system. And especially this rear triangle in connection with the seat tube, which really flexes, will give you more comfort than on the Aerobike. Another thing that the manufacturers try to optimize for aerodynamics on their Aerobikes is the brakes. Where are the brakes? So this bike doesn't come with the disc brakes, it comes with the rim brakes, but where they are? Not here. These are just hidden here, just below the bottom bracket. Can you see those? It's right here. It looks very clean. It gives you some more aerodynamic. I'm gonna just tell you how much faster this bike is at the end, because it's not that easy to say. But some of the caliper brakes that are hidden here just below the bottom bracket can be problematic. These are not. One thing you can be sure, if you're going often riding in the rain, there will be some dirt and mud you're gonna have to clean with your brush more often than on the standard bike. This one is very well done in terms of replacing the pads. You don't have to remove the cranks. On some bikes you're gonna have to remove the cranks, so make sure that it's just easier in terms of the maintenance. These brakes on this bike brake very, very well, but always ask, if you buy the aerodynamic bike, how is it going with the brakes? So always look at the reviews of owners of these bikes, because sometimes they may be just more problem making for us. This climbing bike comes with the disc brakes, which is nice, but most of the road bikes or the standard ones would have the rim brakes right there on the frame. You can see those. It doesn't look as clean as on the Aerobike with the hidden calipers. But yeah, they can also create some more drag, but if you don't ride much more than 30 kilometers per hour, it won't make so much of a difference. So how much faster this bike will be than the climbing bike on the flat roads? My answer is, I don't know. I just can't tell you. It wouldn't be fair for me to say that I'm riding on average 2 or 3 kilometers per hour faster on the Aerobike. It is definitely more aero than the climbing bike. Especially with these wheels, once you go over 25 kilometers per hour, you're gonna hear different sound. It's gonna give you different sound, but it's mostly because of the wheels. Some 47 millimeters exactly deep rim. But yeah, if you like the speed, if you like the look of the bike, if you like the stiffness, not compliance even, but stiffness, everything very, very stiff, then you're gonna like it. Now, some aero bikes aren't really stiff right here. This one has very large top tube, which stiffens this connection, but on some bikes I've noticed that my saddle would move from side to side. So this is also something to consider on the Aerobike. I must tell you, I'm loving this bike. I'm really do. I've been making all the trainings lately just on this bike. I like it. It is really a really cool bike. Now, comparing lap time on the Aerobike versus climbing bike would have some sense if I had the power meter, which I don't have. I only use the power meter on my turbo trainer. But if you've done any comparisons, let us know. Definitely you're gonna hear some really nice sound of cutting the wind on the bike. If you are really strong and 35-40 kilometers per hour is not a problem for you for half an hour, for 45 minutes, for an hour or more, then the Aerobike might be something for you. Climbing bike, you're gonna love climbs on this bike, that's for sure. This one also is very stiff. This one accelerates also very nice. It's just not so much optimized for aerodynamics. But I would also say, even though this is not the endurance bike, the systems that the frameset is packed with make it really compliant. For long days in the saddle, if you suffer with some back pain or your butt cannot take more than 3 hours on another bike, on other bikes, this might be the option for you. I know I'm not maybe simplifying, but I just want to share with you all these things that I've felt. So don't think that once you get on the Aerobike, you're just gonna feel faster on the flat roads. If you can compare the power and the speed, then you will see the difference, perhaps. But definitely the look, the compliance, the weight is something that you would want to consider. Which one is more appealing to you? Let me know in the comments. These were my thoughts on the climbing versus aero machine. One thing I forgot to mention is also the geometry. This racing bike has the racy geometry, but compare those, very often the aero-specific bike, aero-optimized bike, will be even more aggressive. So will put you a bit more to the front and lower. So longer reach and a lower stack. Not always, but on many aerodynamic bikes, the position will be a bit more aggressive. So since you already have everything optimized for aerodynamics, why don't optimize your position for aerodynamics? So compare these, and that's what I think. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.